Hello, everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. If you stop paying attention for even a moment, things in Washington, D.C. can shift pretty dramatically. The Build Back Better plan, which has now been renamed the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, has passed in the Senate with the tie-breaking vote coming in from Vice President Harris. Now it goes to the House, where it's expected to get the votes. So what's in the new bill, and what will it impact? And will it impact the fate of the midterm elections in November, most importantly? So let's talk about that right now with Shane Lieberman from the UBS U.S. Office of Public Policy. Shane, a lot going on in the Beltway these days, particularly with this vote that came in from the Senate. By the way, thanks for coming. Good to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me, Anthony.
So let's talk about the Build Back Better plan, which is, as I said, now been renamed Inflation Reduction Act. So however we refer to it, it's the same. Well, it's not the same, isn't that the point? So let's talk about that, because there are some differences between, obviously, the original plan that President Biden and his administration presented to what actually got voted on. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can generally break down the bill into three parts. First would be the climate initiatives, which is really kind of a focal point of it. And this was dramatically downscaled from the original versions. So right now it's a smaller package in there, but still meaningful. The Democrats believe this will reduce emissions by 40% by 2030. So that's, has quite an impact. Within it, you're looking at a lot of tax credits for things they're trying to incentivize. Not only, electric vehicles, but cleaner homes, efficient HVAC units, windows, the whole gamut. And then, I think there are some other pieces that are going to propel, solar and wind. So, that is the main component. But there's also this piece for prescription drug pricings to try and have Medicare negotiate with pharmaceutical companies to bring down costs. And then the third point, which is vastly different from what we were talking about, a year ago, the tax component. This really only had three pieces to it. First is this new 15% book minimum tax that will only capture, approximately 150 companies. It's designed to go after companies with a very low effective tax rate, so not every company is going to be caught here. Second would be this new 1% excise tax on stock buybacks. So certain companies engaging in stock buybacks may be captured by this. So this, could have an impact. Maybe a company decides not to do a stock buyback or a dividend in its place. That remains to be seen. And then finally, the third part of the tax piece is about $80 billion in IRS funding. Some of this will be, better computer systems for the IRS, but a big component will be IRS agents, which, is a nice way of saying more audits are coming. And this will be targeted at higher income Americans. So, if you are one of those Americans, this does not mean you're going to be audited, but it just means there's a higher probability that you will be.
Audits are fun, aren't they? Anybody who's been through them knows. So I know that, as we were talking about the tax items, the Build Back Better plan, there were some grand ones, so they were a little bit less. Do you think that that's so impactful that it's going to just affect the entire new bill between what we're seeing in the original plan when it came to taxes to today?
Yeah, so much was left out, which, has this impact of leaving Democrats in the position of wanting more. But the reality is that we're so close to the end of the year with a big election ahead of us. This is the best that they could get done. So we should really be thinking about this as, probably all we're going to see in this area for at least a few years.
Right. And I know there were obviously other provisions that were taken out. Some child care benefits were taken out of the bill into the new IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, but health care reform was preserved, as you said, for the most part. So probably make a lot of people happy knowing that Medicare is not going to be as affected as we were afraid it would be.
Yeah, and also the bill props up some of Obamacare subsidies so that those on Obamacare would not be faced with a price increase later this year.
Terrific. Just looking ahead now, we've got a summer break really happening right now. Most of Congress is going to be taking their summer vacation unless they have to be called back for something. But is there any legislation that you're expecting to see? What might happen in September when they get back?
Yeah, no, they kind of cleared the decks because they've been able to pass this Inflation Reduction Act. They also did that chips manufacturing bill, which would be billions for the semiconductor industry to try and make America more competitive versus China. So for the most part, they've cleared the decks. September will probably mostly be about funding government operations. Government operations are funded through the end of the fiscal year, which is end of September. So if Congress did not act, there would be a government shutdown at the end of September. So that will be the focus of the month. But you'll also see votes on some items for political reasons. For example, some moderate Democrats want to have some votes on, funding police because they want to show that they're tough on crime. So you'll see some kind of votes like that, but the real focus of September will be funding government operations, and there may be some more activity after the elections kind of to mop up and finish off the year.
Right. Well, that really is the next part of the conversation I want to have with you, which is now looking ahead to midterm. Since the last time we spoke, so much has happened seemingly in the Democrats' favor with this bill getting passed. Some gun control laws have hit the books now for the first time in decades. How does all of this, and particularly with the Inflation Reduction Act, does it impact the midterms at all? That's really the question.
Yeah, that obviously remains to be seen until election day.
Of course, I know you don't have a crystal ball here, but
I think right now it's actually helping the Democrats. Now that does not mean that they're now going to win the elections. I think as of today, we still believe that Republicans will win the House. The Senate remains a toss-up, and you'll see some prognosticators saying that the Democrats now have a better chance of holding the Senate than Republicans do. So that remains a toss-up. But you're seeing not only the issues you mentioned, but also the abortion Supreme Court case, motivating Democrats. So base Democrats feel like they really need to turn out the vote. They were kind of lacking the enthusiasm before. So abortion and this Inflation Reduction Act has got them a little energized. And you actually saw this play out this past week in a special election in Minnesota, where the Republican prevailed, but he prevailed by much less than anticipated and less than President Trump got the vote in that district in 2020. So this is energizing Democrats for the election.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of polling out there in local elections, and you're starting to see where there may have been some disparities. They're starting to get a little bit more 50-50, a little more even. So, but as you know better than anyone, Shane, the road between August and November in politics might as well be a decade's worth of time. So a lot could change or adjust or move to change people's minds when they get to the polls in November.
Yeah, I think, and if inflation remains top of mind for millions of Americans.
That's right.
And while there may be some good data coming out about inflation not continuing to be so high, Americans still feel it every day at the pump at the grocery store. So there is still items that can ding Democrats at the polls in November. And so, while this may be some little good news for Democrats, they shouldn't, say, oh, we're good now. I think we still believe that Republicans will take the House.
Okay. Shane, thank you very much. Yeah, we have seen gas prices come down a little bit, but maybe not enough to make Americans truly feel like we're back to pre-2021 or 22 levels. So good thinking. Shane, thank you very much. Glad you were able to stop by. Get out of the Beltway, come to New York, sit here in the studio with me. Always a pleasure, Shane.
It's great to see you, Anthony. Thank you for having me.
You too. And for more information from all the content that's coming out of Shane and the rest of the Office of Public Policy here at UBS, visit their website, ubs.com/Washington Weekly. And make sure to follow UBS on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Plus, all of our past UBS Trending episodes are available on demand. And if you have any questions about your portfolio, make sure to speak with a financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. Have a great day, everybody, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. We'll see you soon.